Hi guys, thank you for keeping up with Livy. Of course, I am Livy for those who are new to my channel. I want you guys to do three things. I want you to like, comment, and I want you to subscribe. They say all good things come in threes, so go ahead. If you hear any bell jingling, it's this munchkin right here. Yep, it's her. Put her down. So I had some questions about my assignment and tips and tricks on how to do med pass and things like that. I'm fresh off work, that's why I have these work clothes on. I'm gonna go straight into it. So a day to day for me is before I even ask for a report, I look on the board, or some places don't do boards, some places do assignment books, some places you might have a set assignment, but with me being a traveler, I don't have a set assignment like that. I'm pretty much a little bit of everywhere. Some days I'm on my unit, we have an A cart, B cart, and a C cart. Nobody likes to be assignment because they have trachs and things like that, tube feeds and trachs, and a lot of wounds. So I always more than likely get tossed on the B cart, which I don't mind. I'm built for it. So, but before I even grab a report, what I do a walk around before walk arounds. Do not get a report sitting down. Now, I had something really terrible happen to me from that, and that's what made me start doing walking rounds when I was in nursing school. They always told us to do walking rounds, but I just seen that, like, once I became a nurse, I'm like, oh, that's just one of them things that you do in nursing school, but you won't do it, you know, in the work world. You want to do walking rounds. I had a patient who had a fractured hip, and they tried to blame it on my shift. My shift was the night shift. And I had checked the therapy log, and therapy had got my man up, and they took him to therapy after my shift. They got him up around like 8, 9 o'clock. And I told him it could have never happened on my shift because therapy would have never took him walking if he had a broken hip. So from that day forward, I took pride in doing walking rounds. So that's number one thing I do. I do walking rounds before walking rounds. Then you do walking rounds, you ask those questions that you had in your head before when you did your solo walking rounds. Why is this like this? Why is that like that? Did this get done? Did that get done? You want to check lab books depending on what type of shift you work. Whether you work day shift or night shift, you always want to check the Coumadin log. I always check the Coumadin log. I want to know who is on Coumadin. I want to know who's on Plavix. I want to know who's on Lovenox. I want to know who's on Eliquis. I want to know who's on Xarelto. I want to know who is on all my blood thinners because those are people I'm watching out for. Tip number 2. The second thing that I do when I'm on shift, well, when I'm getting a report, if I don't know this assignment, if I don't know the assignment, I'm asking who are my blood sugars? Who are all of my diabetics? Because when I do med pass, I do not care. I am going to my diabetics first because almost every med pass is surrounded by a meal. AM pass is breakfast. PM, noon pass, lunch. Then you have the dinner med pass, dinner. And then you have bedtime med pass, and that's when people are going around passing out snacks for the nighttime. So I want to know who my diabetics are before I start my shift because I map out who I'm going to. If I know the assignment, more than likely, I just bust it down a certain way. I do my diabetics. If my diabetics got a roommate and they don't take those many meds, I just pop their pills out and I just give the diabetic and their roommate pills together. Some places have double beds, some places have single beds. It depends on billing and facility, whatever. A day-to-day for me is, like I said, walking rounds. Once I get my narc box counted, I hit the floor running. Stop. most nurses, not even being funny, they don't take your trash out. They don't get you that fresh, nice ice water. They don't give you 2 choices of gloves. They don't leave you with Kleenex. They don't make sure that your cart is stocked. So what I do is I pull up next to the storage room and I go through my cart and I see everything that I need. So I'll just stock my cart, and then after I stock my cart, I get going right away. I don't like to have my people waiting. After I'm done with my morning pass. Oh, when I'm doing my med pass, you have people who have patches. Please make sure y'all mark y'all patches, because I mark all my patches, like lidocaine patches and stuff like that. I mark my patches just how you do a regular, just to change name, date, initial, date, and the time that you did it. Because I have walked in on a shift and I have went to change a patch, and I'm changing the patch that I'm taking a patch off that I put on 2 days ago from the last time I worked on that cart, and that patch was supposed to have been took off that same day on PM shift, and it's still sitting there on my person's body. So yeah, you want to make sure you keep track of things like that. Make sure you are labeling everything that you're supposed to label. I try not to half-ass things, excuse my language. But once that med pass is over with, from there, I look and I see who all I have treatments for. So where I'm at now, I have about 4 sacral wounds. And out of those 4 sacral wounds, 2 of them are trach patients. So I'll do my sacral wounds, and then I'll do my trach care, G-tube care if they have G-tubes. So if they have multiple things, I'll just knock it all out. But I like to start with sacral wounds first. Some days, if I know what they had for breakfast or lunch, and I know they're gonna be saturating stuff, I might do my sacral wounds last, because some days you might change those sacral wounds 2 and 3 times a day. So I try to push it back if I can. But if I'm working 7 to 3 and I finish my med pass at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then I get to sacral wounds like 10:30, 11, it probably got to be changed 1 more time, if that. I always try to use skin prep when I do my dressing changes. That way it's really tacky. I like to make sure I position my bandages in a certain way. If the bandage is like, say this is the butt crack, and then the wound is like right here, and then sometimes I'll even like cut a piece of that dressing, the sticky part off. That way it's not too much, on top of the too close to the rectum, and it's gonna get saturated. So I may just cut it to where it's more room down there, if that makes sense to you. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but it makes sense to me. I just cut a piece off and make this tacky part at the bottom less than what it normally would be. I don't know what she is down here doing, so hold on. Queenie. She's chewing on my jacket, y'all. Anywho. So after I do all my wounds, it's time for lunch. It is lunch pass. So my breakfast pass always take longer than anything. The first pass of your shift is always gonna take longer than any med pass. My lunch med pass, I do it in the same order, diabetics. That's majority of what you're gonna get in the afternoon med pass. Majority of them gonna be diabetics. So I do all my diabetics. And then I do the rest of here. Queenie! She acting crazy. She been acting so crazy lately. Queenie, get over here. After I do my diabetics, I just do the pass, just regular, no specific crazy order. And my main thing is I always want to get my diabetics taken care of first. And after that, I take my own lunch break. I take my lunch break when my people eating lunch. I try to have my med pass done before trays come out. Um, I'm trying to have my man pass done before the trays come out. And I take my little break. I come back. Majority of the systems that I've worked with, I've worked in 4 different states so far, and they all have, except for one, but that state did carry it. Point Click Care. I'm pretty sure if you use Point Click Care as a nurse, you are familiar with UDAs. I like to do all my UDAs, and then I check my labs. I give them to the doctor. Fortunately, where I work now, our doctors are there every single day from 8 to 4 o'clock. Some stay to 6. I'm fortunate enough to just walk over to the doctor and just give them the orders, and give them the labs, and they sign off whatever they want to do with it. Some places I'll have to call the doctor, especially because I'm normally like a 3 to 11 worker. I'm normally gonna have to call labs in over the phone. I do labs, I do UDAs. If I have anybody on antibiotics, I do my antibiotic charting. Any new admits, I do new admit charting. And pro tip, always end your notes with comfort provided. Always end with comfort provided. Always end with safety is maintained. Always end with that you made sure they had their call bell in reach, their bed was in the lowest position. Just a safety thing, just to cover yourself. My assignment in Milwaukee, I took care of anywhere between 10 and 14 people. And my assignment now, I want to say it's about 14 to 19 people. 19 probably was like the most I've had here. When I was in North Carolina, I had 43 patients. Yeah, but I had a med tech, so my med tech passed every single pill I had, and I was responsible for doing all insulins, all IVs, all tube feeds, and anything that was a blood thinner. I was responsible for passing, which it don't sound like a lot because they passing all my pills, but it was a lot of diabetics and it was a lot of people on the blood thinners. And then I still had to sign off on all the MARs, all the TARs. But where I'm at now, if we have more than 3 nurses, we have 4 nurses, the 4th nurse takes the treatment card, and nobody likes to do the treatment card but me. So I do the whole unit's wounds, which I'm looking into getting wound certified. I actually found a a couple schools that do wound certification, and I found a good RN program that's online. One of the nurse practitioners at my current job told me that he really thinks that I need to go back to school for my RN. And I'm like, I've been thinking about it, but I don't know where to go. And then he told me that he started off as an LPN, then he got his ADN, then he got his BSN, then he got his MSN. But the program doesn't offer MP program, it just offered the MSN program. So he went somewhere else for his MP, but he went to this online school for all of those degrees. So I'm gonna be getting into that. Yeah. I just say always do things in the order of importance. Always do things in the order of importance. You don't want to but if you don't have those many diabetics, if your diabetic is smack in the middle and your med pass not that long. Another thing, like when I was in Milwaukee, I could do my med pass in 45 minutes, which means it didn't matter what time I got to my diabetic. Everybody's stuff is gonna be on time. Like I passed an hour before how legally you can do. So if the med pass started at at 8, I'll start at 7. If it started at 4, I'll start at 3. So they'll have their stuff in enough time. But the fair thing that I used to do is I would start at one end of the hall one day, because I had a set cart in Milwaukee. I would start at the top of the hall one day. And then at dinner, at dinner, I would start at the top of the hall. Bedtime passed, I would start at the bottom of the hall. That way they don't always feel like, the people at the end of the hall don't always feel like they're left waiting or whatever. And it makes the people at the top of the hall not feel so privileged, because some places and some people, they feel like because they're in room 101, they are more important than the people that are in room 130. Like, no, boo, no, you're not. Y'all are created the same. But that's all I have. Queenie, you say hi to the people? Say no, I just want to torment my mama. I just want to torment her. But no, that's all I have. I'm about to get dressed, go to the gym. Y'all see, trying to get right, trying to get tight. But that's all I have for you guys. If you guys have any other questions, any other concerns, feel free to leave them in the description box down below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's Livy, and thank you for keeping up with Livy. Say bye, my queenie. You say bye to the people. Oh, look at that belly. No.